Hey, welcome back. I'm Miss Mandy, and today we are talking about side hustles and why they do not work. So, I've been in the workforce half of my life, basically. For the last 15 years, I've worked. And I'm going to set the stage for you a little bit. Because when I was in high school and that bell rang at the end of the day and everybody gathered their things quickly and rushed out into the day, they went to their sports clubs and they went to their extracurriculars, their theater clubs, hung out with their friends. I went to work. And in college, when most students were glad that they could pick their classes and time their classes so that they could sleep in on the weekdays and only go to classes 2 days a week, I worked in the morning before and after classes. I went to school 2 days of the week and I worked 3 days of the week. I worked the weekends a lot of times to create extra income. And then when I got married and I was done with college, my husband and I both had 2 jobs just to afford our lifestyle in our little 2-bedroom apartment. And they were low-paying jobs, mind you. Now, I have to be very clear that I have never been without food. I've never been without shelter. I'm very fortunate in that. And we are very grateful to have parents who kind of carried us through the harder points in our life when we were just getting started in our marriage and all of that. I don't know what we would have done without them. I'm sure we would have got by, but I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without that support. And even they funded some of the vacations that we took, that kind of thing. Just very generous people. So I have not suffered. I've not suffered from hunger or lack of shelter or lack of clothes at any point in my life. But I have struggled. And I've been doing it since I entered the workforce. I've struggled to get jobs. I've struggled to do my best at jobs that weren't designed for my personality or my skill sets because I didn't know what my skill sets were or the value that I brought to a job. And I've struggled to climb corporate ladders when I see people who are less qualified or less experienced get the promotions that I wanted or the job that I wanted or, pass me by in climbing that corporate ladder. So my whole life I've worked, and I still, at the end of the day, feel like the kid who's picked last on the kickball team in gym class. I'm standing there alone, it feels like. So at what point do we stop and we realize that hustle and grind is not the answer to building wealth? Here I am 15, 16 years later, 32 years old, and I'm no closer to being wealthier. My family, all of them have worked their entire lives. My grandparents, my parents, me, my in-laws, we've all worked our entire lives. And while we haven't suffered, like I said, we're not closer to being rich, any closer to being rich in Generation 3 than we were in Generation 1. So why don't side hustles work? Why can't hustle and grind? What is the numbers behind this? Well, according to Zapier data reports, 34% of Americans have side hustles these days. That's a third of the population. But only 6.7% of U.S. households can claim millionaire status. And even fewer than that are truly wealthy because we all know that $1 million invested doesn't get you very much these days. Doesn't matter what you're invested in. So far fewer than that are actually truly wealthy. So if hustle and grind is the answer, then why aren't the numbers adding up? More than that, when we think about the truly wealthy and what it is we want wealth for, why do we envy the money that they have? It's because we envy that they're able to do with their time whatever they want. They don't have to work. They don't have to play by those rules. They aren't slave to the 9 to 5, right? Or in some cases, the 9 to 5 and then the 5 to 9, because we're working 9 to 5 and then from 5 to 9, we're side hustling. So all of that plays a big part. But I've come up with a few reasons why side hustles don't work, and a lot of it is comparing it to what the wealthy do and then what the working class does. And first of all, we have to know that you can't get wealthy doing what wealthy people don't do. Wealthy people aren't working side hustles. They make the rules in their relationships, right? They make the rules in their businesses. And they're not working side hustles every day. they might have their businesses, but they don't own, operate, manage, and work in the business all at the same time. They have teams of people who are experienced in their exact fields that do their very best in those fields. And teams of people run their businesses. So the ultra wealthy, they get to do what they're really good at, what they love to do. And they delegate the rest. They do what they do best and delegate the rest. I can't take credit for that catchphrase. It's one of Garrett Gunderson's, but I like it, so I'm going to use it today. Second, even if you created a high income with your side hustle, you don't know what to do with it. We're not educated. No schools are teaching us how wealthy people manage their money. They teach us, get a good job, get good grades, get a good job, then, put money in your 401k, and that's about it. That's all we know what to do. We aren't taught the different investments that are out there. We aren't taught that, my investments that I get into may not be good for you because I have a different personality and different interests than you have. But until we can answer the question, what do the wealthy people do with their money and why? We are not going to be able to build wealth because we can't handle it. We don't know how to manage it. There's lots of people out there with really high incomes that have no idea what to do with it. What happens is that they just create more expenses to go with their incomes. And the income stream looks like this. You create the income and then it goes to the liabilities that create expenses in your lives. And it creates this cycle of spending that you can't ever get out of because you have to go to job to pay your expenses. And you have to go to job to buy more liabilities that create more expenses. Well, the wealthy don't work like that. What the wealthy do is they buy assets that pay for their expenses. They don't pay for their life out of their income. They use their income to buy assets, and those assets generate cash flow to pay for their expenses. And yeah, it sounds cool. It's hard to get into, but once you get there, man, I'm not there yet, but I am looking forward to the day that I do get there because let me tell you, I'm doing what the wealthy do in order to be as wealthy as they are. Third, wealthy people pay as few taxes as possible. This time of year, we're all really excited about, getting our tax refund, our income tax return. And the super wealthy, they just sit there and they chuckle because they know that what we've done is just given the government an interest-free loan. That money that you're getting back, it was yours from the prior year. That's money that you could have had sooner that you just gave up to the government as a loan until they decided to pay you back in March. Let that sink in for just a minute. Wealthy people don't do that. They do not pay more in taxes than they have to. In fact, they create whole systems in order to avoid paying taxes using the rule book, which is called the IRS tax code. Look at my notes here. Sorry about that. Wealthy people know that small business owners are the highest taxed individuals in America. So yes, you have a side hustle. Yes, you have an Etsy shop or a small business that you're getting into, but you're the highest paid person in America right now. So wealthy people know that in order to pay less in taxes, they have to move beyond that small business. And yeah, it may be where you start. That's where we are right now. We're starting a small business. And if you're starting something from scratch and you have an idea that you have to start from scratch, then yeah, you probably do have to start in that small business arena and build up, especially if you have no assets to put up front. But once you get that small business established, learn how to create more value in that market. Learn how you can serve more individuals. Learn how you can bring more value to the individuals you serve. And build it to a big business where you are then taxed, instead of at 60%, you're taxed at 20%. And then eventually you'll create enough cash flow to cover your expenses, become financially, economically independent, and you'll have extra to invest. And guess what? Investors get taxed. Investors get taxed zero because a lot of their money comes from payoffs and debt. And that is taxed at 0%. So I don't claim to be an expert on taxes or how the wealthy are using the tax codes to their benefit, but I know they do it and I'm learning more about it. So when I know more, you will too. And that's it. Those three things. Wealthy don't pay a lot in taxes. Learn how the wealthy do use their money, where they put it and why. And know that you can't get wealthy doing what the wealthy don't do, like spending all your time at work. The wealthy like to enjoy their lives. They enjoy experiences. They enjoy luxuries. That's why we envy them so much. They enjoy their time and their lives and their experiences and create a lot of them. Well, we only get to take vacations maybe once a year, maybe once every other year sometimes. They're taking vacations every other month. They're taking time off because they can, because they have the resources and the systems in place that pay them whether they are working or not. And that's where I want to be. I don't want to be the person spending half of my life slaved to a business that I created because I can't let anybody else take over. And if you're side hustling, at least have a bigger picture in mind. Have a plan to build and grow and create that passive income versus active income. And that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this so you don't miss the next one. I will see you next time. Bye.